Do you really need a full Tang fixed blade? Short answer is no. Welcome to Blade Talk Tuesday. My name is Jude. Thank you so much for joining me. And in today's episode, we're going to be opening up a can of worms. So buckle up, get those fingers ready to type your comments, and let's jump into it. Over the past decade or two, maybe even longer, there's been a mindset spread throughout the outdoor community that you need a knife that might resemble this, the William Collins survival knife. Now you're talking about a very thick, full Tang, exposed full Tang, so you can see the Tang running all through the handle. It's got the pommel in the back. It's a nice long blade that you need something like this for the outdoors. That this is ultimately the answer to all of your survival and bushcraft needs. I don't know who started it, but I don't know if it's 100% accurate either. And I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. You know, yes, having a full Tang sturdy knife like this is certainly better than having a folding knife that doesn't have a full Tang, especially if you're in a survival situation. But I think we all expect a little too much, or maybe too little, out of our knives. For instance, this is a Mora Companion. This one has been around for years. This design, it is not a full Tang. It is not an exposed Tang. It's a partial rat tail Tang, meaning the part of the blade that runs through the handle only goes about 3/4 of the way through, and it's narrower than the blade. And then the handle is injection molded around it. Very lightweight, very comfortable, kind of a rubbery grip. A knife like this has served outdoorsmen for decades, years. I mean, it's just done super well, especially when paired with something like a hatchet. And this is really my point. If you've got this and you're packing this, you don't really need this. This is a redundancy. And yes, I understand 1 is none, 2 is 1, that whole mentality. But you've got to carry it. You've got to weigh your pack down with something like this and this, and it just becomes so cumbersome. These two paired together, they will handle 90% of your work. Anything that these two couldn't handle, well, that's why you have a folding saw, because that's ultimately like the 3 tools. Got your hatchet or axe. In this case, it's a small one. I just grabbed it because I've recently worked with it. Small fixed blade and a folding saw, which I don't have out here as an example, but we all know what a saw looks like. Do you get my point here? And I know this opens a can of worms because, again, the predominant theory, the predominant idea in the outdoor kind of bushcrafty survival community is that you need a knife similar to this for survival, for bushcraft, for outdoor work. And the more I'm out there, the more I don't think that's actually true. What I do recommend, however, is if you do find yourself, as a personal preference thing, totally is, if you do find yourself in need of a full Tang fixed blade, get yourself something like this. This is an LT Wright Knives NSK. This is one of my all-time favorite bushcrafting knives. It's a very narrow Tang. It's a very, well, it's not very, but it's a shorter blade, just so we can pair. About the same size as a Mora. About the same thickness too. But paired with this, much lighter, much more comfortable. Paired with this, you can do anything. There's the long answer. Now, as a side note, because I always add these little side notes, if you don't have one of these, then you definitely need one of these. Not this particular one, but something big, something sturdy, something full Tang. Because one of these by itself is not going to do you any good in a true survival situation. So in the comments down below, what is your opinion on this subject? Do you really need a full Tang fixed blade for the outdoors? Or is it more important to have the right tools for the right job? I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Have you stuck around this whole time and you haven't just like thrown the computer in frustration? I always carry a full Tang fixed blade similar to this NSK that I showed you all the time. Yeah, I don't need it, you know, because I usually have a hatchet or something like that, and I could be carrying this, but I just prefer having that full Tang, having that more sturdy build, having that tool that I trust. As good as these are, I don't trust them nearly as much as I trust these. So that's just where I am in my comfort zone. Even if I do have a hatchet, I'm still carrying a full Tang fixed blade. I know it's unnecessary weight, but I don't care. I'm willing to sacrifice the weight in order to have that peace of mind. Okay, bye for real. Now, see you later.